I confess I'm a mess and I'm just trying to figure life out. Can't believe what you see in this world, it'll feed your doubt. And I've tried on my own, but we weren't meant to do it alone. So come with me, together we'll get free. I confess I'm broken, but I found someone who's making me whole. And what if honesty could be the key? I confess I'm desperate, looking for a place to call home. And if honesty with me could be my key, then with truth I'll lead. And if honesty with me will be my key, then with truth I'll lead. Welcome to the couch.
And we are back. Welcome to another episode of Couch Confessions, Season 2, where together we will seek safety and find freedom in admitting and accepting our humanity as we navigate life and explore purpose. It was particularly important, or it felt particularly important for me to say that because I have had to kind of hit the reset button and remember why I decided to do this in the first place. It's been a while since we've chatted, and many people may wonder what's been going on, where have I been? And I'm going to try to give you a good answer to that question. We'll see how it goes. Let's see. Last time we were together, it was the end of the year, end of 2024, and old me, new me, we were duking it out. We were trying to figure out who was going to make it out alive at the end of the year. And, I got to New Year and I said, I think I won. I think we did this. And then January came and I said, we're just going to make sure. We're going to take a second and make sure all is well, because it was giving ICU, maybe getting moved to a recovery union, where are we? Not sure. So I just needed January to take a beat and to really get my grasp around everything that was happening around me. I feel like we talked about, a lot of transition, a lot of change has been happening and continues to kind of happen in all the areas of life. It feels like relationships are shifting, have shifted, and I have to pause and say that I'm immensely grateful for the faithful few. Like my girls, my friends, oh my gosh, they are the biggest blessing that I could ever have. And I know a lot of times people talk about their girlfriends or just friendship in general, and how it sometimes feels like that's the stronger bond than even people's significant others. And don't know, because I don't have a significant other, but my friends, I told them, and I tell them continuously, that they are literally God's reflection of his love for me. They are they've been there, first of all, through all the things. And as someone who struggles to see that I'm worthy, see that I'm lovable, having friends who are always encouraging and holding you accountable and keeping it cute, but making sure that that you're loved and that you're honored and respected. And it's just different, man. I love them girls. But anyways, relationships are shifting, and that's a hard one. Even people who I thought would be friends in my life for a very, very long time, we've kind of drifted. Some of it by my own doing because I'm a self-sabotager. And then some of it just stuff I should have been obedient to in the first place, but wasn't. And that's hard because regardless of the reason, like losing people that you care about and that you love is like really crushing. For me at least, I don't know how other people feel. Maybe I just love deeply and I care a lot about the people I make connections with, and I am a pretty like soul bearing person. So when I connect with you, I connect with you. And it's just hard to lose people that you love and you care about. So that's change, that's transition. Of course, faith and ministry is, woo. Honestly, that's probably the biggest one right now because this is a lot. And I think, you know, we talk about it and people joke about like running from the things that you know you're supposed to be doing or that like God has called you to do. And I don't even think it was a running situation. I mean, I was, you know, getting settled in the fact that, okay, like I have an assignment. It's going to be something. We're going to figure out what it is. And he said, boom, here you go. I said, no, I don't think this was mine. I think we got something mixed up here because that's not what my understanding was. Well, my understanding wasn't that. And he said, well, that's why I leaned out on your understanding. Get up off this floor and stop crying because I'm not changing my mind. And this is what you're doing. And leading anything, people, anybody, anywhere in a ministry capacity is terrifying for me. It's terrifying. So this has just been a time. It's been a time. And honestly, I not built this platform. I'm still building it. But I started this with the premise of being open and being vulnerable and being honest. I mean, for God's sakes, the lyrics to my theme song that I wrote literally talk about, you know, if honesty with me is the key, then with truth I'll lead. And that sounded really cute. The melodies were really nice until I had to really face the music, and until things got tight, until things got messy, until it got uncomfortable, until I was triggered. Like then I really had to, you know, put my money where my mouth is. And I realized I don't know how honest and how vulnerable like I'm actually able to be. Or I was doubting how vulnerable and open I wanted to be, in general and especially in this space. And like, again, the struggle that I have with perfection and like presenting, something that looks good and that, you know, has a positive message at the end of the day. And I was telling one of my friends, like, I don't know what to say. I don't want to get up here and sound like doomsday, but this is ghetto. This is not fun. Actually, I'm not having fun at all. And I realized as I was talking to her, like, that is the whole point, right? Like sometimes it just is what it is. Sometimes there isn't like an upside at that moment. And I realized that I was avoiding and running and trying to hide from the very thing that I, you know, wanted to expose and to show. Like sometimes things get sketchy, but like we have to have the sketchy to get through the rest of the process. And I don't know, that's really scary. It's been a little scary for me to think about like coming back to this space and being real and being open about my life and just about everything that I'm walking through, and to like have real conversations with people about these things. It started to feel a little, you know, scary, honestly. And we talked about fear last time and like how do you overcome that. And I think that personally, I think I was waiting for the moment that I'm like not afraid anymore. I feel like Kevin off of Home Alone when he's walking out the house and he's like, I'm not afraid anymore. You hear me? I'm not afraid anymore. And then the little man pulls up with a trash can and he's screaming, running back in the house. Like that is literally me. I thought, like, okay, this is great. I'm not afraid anymore. We're going to go forth and prosper. And then it was like, psych, actually, I'm running in the house. Afraid, hiding. And that's been really frustrating for me as well, because I'm like, dang it, Adria, like, how can we just, like, at some point, when is the faith going to override the fear? Like, at some point, when is this going to happen? Because this is taking me down. It's really, really taking me down. It's starting to be a hindrance to things, and it's not working. And like, what am I doing wrong? And like, how do I figure this out? Like, I got to get to the other side of this. And I think that it's in part because you cannot bypass facing the truth. You cannot bypass facing the hard realities in order to like get to the other side of things. I was talking to my therapist, and she said, you don't give yourself a chance to even learn. We were talking about like my relationship troubles and how, you know, the distance between certain situations maybe has not allowed enough time for me to learn, one, but then two, because of the judgment that I have, and I'm so quick to like make the conclusion be, oh, that it was my fault, or, oh, you know, I should have did this differently, or I should have done this differently, and like hurry up and rush to that being the conclusion, because that feels better to just be able to blame myself than to have to sit with the like discomfort of exploring really what happened in the situation, and just like sitting with my feelings in general. She's saying like, you know, you don't even give yourself a chance like to learn, to sit down and just be with a thing. And she's right. I'm very avoidant, because who wants to be uncomfortable? Not me. And it's one thing to acknowledge like where your shortcomings are, or like what are the things that are standing in the way, but I feel like it's an entirely different thing to have the actionable steps and like carry out the actionable steps to change and like grow. But, you know, we're going to start at step one, because maybe we're still at the acknowledgement phase. Maybe we're still at the see the hard truth phase. And, you know, I have to do that. I have to just be honest with myself and with you all. And I think that, you know, it's not an easy thing. The truth is hard to face, but if I don't face it, I won't have freedom. And that's what this is for. As much as this is for everyone to come along this journey with me, I had to remind myself that this journey is for me. Yeah, it's for me. And I am going to try to be brave. And I'm going to try to do it. And it's going to be a little sketchy. And I might not have all the answers and be confident along the way, but we're going to get there. So buckle up, buttercups. And with that being said, I'm going to share some of the hard truths that I've been kind of reconciling with lately. Because I think that, you know, it's relevant to the conversation. And I think the first one is just that sometimes it's going to be ugly. Sometimes you're going to do wild-tastic things and you're going to fail miserably. But that's part of the process, and that's what's going to like make the masterpiece in the end. And I think I'm a visual person, but I think about like art and anybody who creates like visual art, and how sometimes when you start, it's like, that looks a little funny or like it's kind of ugly, but you have to keep working towards the process, because in the end, once you add all the colors and the layers and the textures and whatever else, it's beautiful. And that's kind of what life is. And I know that sounds like a little cliche, but I have to like remind myself of these things sometimes, because when it gets ugly and sketchy, I want to hide. I don't want people to see my mess, because I'm afraid of what that will mean for how people perceive me as a person. But at the end of the day, like, the only way that you get to the pretty picture at the end is embracing the mess. And at least if I don't learn to love the ugly things, like, at least I want to be okay with the fact that sometimes it's going to be ugly and sometimes I'm going to fail. And it's really uncomfortable. And in this season, I'm failing out loud. Like a lot of the things that I am worried about or that I mess up, like it's in front of people. And so that is hard to swallow, because where you could hide and like have your failures in private, I don't really think I'm going to have that luxury much longer. And so that's scary, because like, how do you embrace your own challenges in a way that is still empowering for other people to know like what the right way and the right thing to do is? And I don't know if that makes any sense, but I think essentially what I'm trying to say is, when I mess up or when I don't get it right and there's other people looking toward me to be an example or to be a leader, then it's like, that's really scary. And I want to be able to, like, you know, people say like, oh, but that's the right heart to have, and like we should, you know, be fervent in our, you know, in our behavior and our, you know, heart posture, so that we don't fall into these things. But like, the reality is you will. So then what do you do with that when it happens? And how do you shake yourself and not, like, for me, how do I shake myself and not spiral almost in those moments where I like mess up or when I fail? So that was long-winded, but sometimes things are gonna get ugly, is my point. The other hard truth that I've faced lately, and this one's like gonna sound a little sketchy, but it just is what it is death or death. To die or to die. That is the options. There's not a question. That's the options. And what I mean when I say that is, like, when I think about the context of, you know, being a Christian, either you die to yourself and die to like your flesh and your old way of living, or eventually we're going to all pass away and you will spend eternity away from him. And that is the ultimate death that comes from, you know, not being free from sin. And that's like, that was, at least for me, that was very sobering. Like, is the only way out of this is death or death. Pick one. Which one would you like? You're either going to die to yourself now or you're going to die later. Pick one. And that is, yikes. I mean, it sounds cute. Like, I think we all, maybe not we all, but I think we can say that that's a foundational aspect of Christianity and salvation, and like the gospel of Jesus Christ is that, you know, we must be crucified with him so that we can be raised to life with him as he was raised, right? And so that sounds like, okay, yes, got it. But actually doing that every day, it's hard. And it's not just dying to, like, yes, it is sinful things, you know, and habits that are, you know, probably pretty objectively are morally wrong, but it's the little things. It's your mentality. It's your idea of what life was supposed to look like. It's your timelines. It's like, it's everything. Like, it's just your will and your freedom. Not freedom in like a, well, yeah, it's your will. It's your free will. You're done with that. I mean, you can still kind of have it. Yeah, God gives us the power to choose, but this is not my life anymore, right? And so like that death is hard. And I have said that this is my year of daily bread, because I want to just remind myself that it's every day we have to take these steps. Every day we have to make a choice. Like, there's not a light switch that's going to come on and I'm going to be this perfect person. It doesn't exist. It doesn't happen. And so like every day you have to make that choice to literally crucify yourself. And that is that. I don't know. Like, I want to have better words for you, but it's still sitting and marinating in my spirit. So, you know, catch me in a couple more weeks and maybe I'll have better words for you. So yeah, to die or to die. Those are the options. And I think the other truth is, I kind of already talked about it, but like perfection does not exist. Like the idea that I'm going to sin until I die is actually very sad. And I know that that's like, maybe I'm not supposed to feel sad about it because, he paid the price for my sins and I am, going to spend eternity with him, all the things. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's lovely. But the fact that I'm going to do the wrong thing literally until I die is sickening. Because I don't know, like, if anybody relates to how frustrating it is to like want to do the right thing, and you like in your heart you really like, sometimes I'm praying and I'm like, I promise I really like want to be different. Like, I promise I really want to see your glory. I promise. I know my actions don't look like it quite at all, but I promise you I really do. It's such a like, I want to say a bad word. It's such a ugly feeling. It's such an ugly feeling to like know that this is part of your nature. And I know that we have the Holy Spirit, and I know that he empowers us to overcome our flesh. But like the war that happens constantly is not fun. It's not fun. And maybe, not maybe, I do know and believe that the more that I run towards him and the more that I'm full of the Holy Spirit, the easier it will become, or maybe the more proficient I will become in saying no to my flesh and like doing things that are holy, and I'll make habits out of that. But like, again, I'll graduate maybe and I won't do, some of the stuff that I struggle with now, but it's going to be something else. Like, there's always going to be a struggle. And I don't know, that's a little sad to me. I'm just being honest. Like, as beautiful as like it all is, and the access and heirs with Christ, all of that is amazing. And there's benefits. We have joy, we have peace, abundance. He's taking care of me. I'm protected. Like, he has been good to me beyond anything I deserve, for sure. So I'm grateful to be in him. But like, can't you just take this? Can't you just take this thing away from me so that it is not so hard for me to run after you? Like, that is really, I don't even have the words. Like, but if he can love me in spite of my faults, then I have to learn how to do that also. And so, yes, I'm going to be imperfect until I die. And like, maybe for some people that's an easier concept to grasp. For me, it's a little challenging. But like, I have to learn to love the imperfections. And I cannot say that I'm there yet. We're still working on the compassion. I'm a lot better than I used to be in terms of how I talk to myself and treat myself when I mess up or when things are not right. And like, what messages I choose to accept about myself as a result. We're making progress, but we have not arrived. And so that's a hard pill for me to swallow. And I'm still working through, what that looks like, and remembering to lean into the love, because yeah, I'm going to be imperfect. I'm going to sin until I die. But there's someone who, loves me, and whose love is enough to cover all of that. It covers a multitude of sins. And so that is something I have to hold on to. And I think the last thing that is like, well, there's many hard truths and we'll keep exploring them together, but freedom is not free. It's not free. And I think we know that in the context of many different things. Like, if you think about the world, if you think about societies and culture and, countries and, all of that stuff, different movements, like, we know that freedom cost, and there's a price, and there's sacrifice, and there's pain. Like, something's coming. You have to give up something as a result. Thankfully, in the context of, Christianity, that price has been paid for us so that we can have freedom and walk in freedom. But it's not free, and it's not easy to come by even still, because it does require truth. It does require confrontation and exposure. And that's not fun. That's really uncomfortable. but it's the only way that we'll get out of the cycle and get out of the things that kind of weigh our hearts down. Even if you think about, like, that is literally what sin does. It weighs our hearts down, and it keeps us from being able to really walk in light and to be effective as disciples of Christ. And that's hard. Truth by its very nature is confrontational. Like, it's meant to oppose deception. It's meant to oppose delusion. And, you know, if we, again, in the context of Christ, he is truth. I am the way, the truth, and the life. Like, he is the truth. And conversely, Satan, the father of lies, is, you know, wants to be in darkness. And I think that it's not a coincidence that there's an attack on truth in many different areas. I mean, if you look at the world, if you look at media, if you look at social media, if you have conversations with the person at the grocery store, like, truth is relative. And I just don't think it's a coincidence. And I think that how do I say this well? I think that for me, I have realized that we have to remain committed to not being silent about truth, because that is what the enemy would love. Because if we don't have truth and we don't shine that light, then how do people get to freedom? And how do people know the path to take and the steps? And, like, how do people know what's real and what to hold on to? And so for me, I am deciding to not stay silent. I wanted to say bump this podcast. Honestly, I'm not going to lie to you all. And I know that maybe makes me sound like a quitter, but, you know, that's just how strongly I was trying to avoid the discomfort that I feel in my bones right now, actually. Because it's just hard. I don't know. I don't have a good answer for anything right now. I don't have eloquent words. I don't have none of it. This is hard. Where I am right now in life is hard. It's really hard. And, yeah, man, I don't know. I'm getting emotional. Gross. It's really hard. And I know I'm not alone. And I know I don't have to do it alone. So that's the other thing that I have to work on is, like, you know, reaching out for help and, like, not going through and navigating and confronting alone. Like, you don't have to do that. But it is difficult. So yeah, we're going to just keep fumbling through this thing together, and hopefully the growth will become evident as we go, because this is really uncomfortable. So I must be doing something right, because what do the people say? You can't grow without being uncomfortable. Well, hello. This on a scale of what the doctor say? On a scale of 1 to 10, 12. 12. And I want to be excited for the new things, and I want to be charged and all of that. I'm just not there. And I don't think that means that I don't have faith, because I do believe that what's coming is going to be beautiful and wonderful. And I do think that this season is a preparation, is like setting us up for a beautiful surprise from the Lord. I believe that. But I don't have, like, I'm not jumping for joy about it. I'm really not. And I want my attitude to change, and I want to find the joy. But right now, I think all I can focus on is like staying grounded and serving well. Like I can't process too many things at once. So yeah, I think that right now we're just going to focus on being real about what it is and what it ain't, so that we can work through it and sitting with the reality of things, and then sharing that and not being silent and not hiding, and not letting shame like overtake the purpose that I'm supposed to be fulfilling, or purposes that I'm supposed to be fulfilling. So yeah, welcome back. Welcome back. And I'm excited for this season. I'm excited to have some conversations with some good folks, and I'm excited to stretch. I'm eager to go on the journey and hopefully shed performance and shed perfection and shed the idea that if I don't get things exactly right, that I'm not valuable, that I won't have what I'm supposed to have, and that I won't get what was supposed to be for me. And that applies to a lot of areas. Ministry, my dream of being a mama and a wife. Even friendships. Like, I think that I really, really have to get a good grip on those things, not being consumed by performance and perfection, and like being okay with the pretty mess. So yeah, pray for me. I'll pray for you. You pray for me. I love you. I need you to survive. That's what they say. Just say a prayer. Send one up for me. I'll send one up for you. Because we need it. So I can't wait to talk to you guys again soon. And I will see you back again for another episode of Couch Confessions. Welcome to the couch.